To begin, we are going to be making our spine and our pages for our books. For this part, you need to make sure that your spine and pages slabs are the correct height for your book, and you should find at your table some water, a sponge, pasta lettering, or you can freehand this with a pencil, some extra clay, a fork, a pen tool, and 2 pencils per student. First, we're going to need a pinch of clay, and this is going to be your ridges on your spine, so it's up to you how big they are as well as how many you include. I will be showing you 2. You need to roll up the clay into a coil. Think back to your Play-Doh days. Use your hands or your table, whatever works for you. Once you get the size of the coil that you want, you can lay it across your spine and pinch off any excess. They don't have to be exact. Roll out as many coils as you want ridges and place them where you want them on your spine. Remember to leave room for the SCA sticker. Once you have them placed where you want to go, you can use your pen tool to mark. Just scratch right above and right below where your coils are going to be so that you know where to place them afterwards. You will need to scratch the surface of the clay. This is called scoring. You'll need to do the bottom of your coils as well as the surface of your slab where your coils are going to go. Make sure that you do not cut through your clay, but just scratch the surface up quite a bit like so. Then you can use water and dab a little water onto the clay on your spine and then press your coil into the spine using your pen tool to cut off the excess. Then you can use your fingers to smooth out the crease where the clay connects. You don't want to see that crack, so you really want it to be super smooth. If you're having a hard time using just your fingers, you can use a wooden tool. They're also at your table. The wooden tool looks like this. You can use that to kind of help smooth out that crease. Make sure you do not add water to this step, and then do the same thing for all of your ridges. That is done, you can start planning out where your name and your graduation year are going. Remember, you need to leave about 2 inches of space for your SCA sticker. It doesn't matter where, but that needs to go on your spine. If you're using noodles, find your letters and press them in. If you are freehanding it, you can just use a dull pencil to write your name and graduation year. The pen tool to help me press my noodles in because they're so little. You can use the pin part, or you can turn it over and use the bottom end that's flat and kind of use it as a stamp. You can leave these pasta noodles in your clay. It'll burn out in the kiln and it'll leave a nice impression of your letters. Also see me using the pen tool to write. If you do this, you need to be careful not to cut through your slab. Only scratch the surface of your clay and don't press all the way through. This is a really fine line, and sometimes you need to go over it a couple of times in order to make it thick enough to be able to be seen. Once you're done, you can take your damp sponge. Remember, you're squeezing out all of the water before you're using it, and you can smooth out any unwanted texture or crusties on your slab. If you accidentally smooth out your letters or your numbers, you can just go back over it again with your pen tool or whatever tool it is that you use to make it. You can see me doing that now. It's also helpful when you go back over it. If you clean your tool off often, you can see me taking my other hand and wiping off the tip of my pen tool every so often as I'm drawing those numbers back in. This helps alleviate the crusties. You don't get as many when you're scratching that surface. Then you can move on to your pages. For this, you're just using a fork, and you just need to scratch the surface of your clay from top to bottom long ways. Do this over and over again until you're satisfied with the look of your pages. Once you're finished, it's very important to use your damp sponge to smooth the edges of your slabs. You can just barely see me start that process right about here. You can see me smooth the edges. It cut off to see the rest of it, but you need to do that for your pages and your spine. Then the very last thing you need to do is to take your two pencils and place them underneath your spine. And this is going to give us that really subtle, beautiful curve for your book. You can press the edges down slightly, and then you're done. Great work.